Today we'll be talking about the middle class and the upper class, and how it changed during the modern period. To start with the middle class, it was the defining feature of the 20th century. Okay, of the 20th century. Alright, there we go. It was a populous and prosperous part of the economy in the 20th century, and was a very sizable part of the population. The middle class was made up of factory workers, as well as tradesmen, service workers, sales workers, and numerous other workers as well. Okay, sales workers, and we'll just list service workers as well. Service workers. All right. Some defining characteristics of the middle class in the North were that they were earning stable wages. And this meant that they could, they could live comfortably. Right. And they were also able to own homes as well. Own homes. Okay, let me fix that. Homes. And they are also able to obtain services such as healthcare, education, entertainment, and travel. So let's just put down access to services. Alright. And this was the middle class in the North. In the South, we have a slightly different definition of middle class. So let's see what that is. Alright, South. Alright. So, again, the middle class was defined a bit differently. Different definition. Alright. Because in the South, middle class was defined as households that were earning wages above the poverty line, but still were earning significantly less than the highest earners in the South. Right, so significantly less than the higher earners of the South. So, not as prosperous as in the North. Now, the middle class, again, is very populous and prosperous. To support this, by 2009, there were 1.8 billion people who identified themselves as middle class. 1.8 billion people who are middle class. Middle class. Alright. However, since the 1970s, the middle class has been either stagnant or shrinking, especially in industrial regions, despite there being economic growth during this time. Okay, so middle class shrinking. This was because of a lot of factors such as insecure employment, loss of manufacturing jobs and industries, immigration, decline of labor unions, and so overall we can just say that it was caused by a lack of jobs. Alright, so here let's talk about the upper class. We have a new color now. Alright, so the upper class. One of the defining characteristics of the upper class of the um, modern world was that they were self-made, unlike in the industrial world, first industrial revolution, where many upper class were inherited their wealth. The upper class was incredibly wealthy and lived a life of luxury unimaginable to most of us. The upper class uses globalization as well as the deregulation of financial industry as factors in their wealth and their fortune. Financial industry. Right. As well as this, the upper class used things such as decolonization as opportunities for investment. Even the dissolving of the USSR was used as a sort of opportunity to invest. The upper class also used hedge fund industries, but these were very risky, high risk, high reward sort of things. But it clearly did work for a few lucky people. And so these are the sort of factors that help the upper class become the upper class. Now, the upper class shared a couple of characteristics with each other, particularly their outlooks, their education, and their background. For example, their background. For example, we know that many of the upper class, members of the upper class, attended Harvard Business School. And some members of the upper class might find more in common with each other than their own neighbors. And this means that they're a very self-conscious global class, right? They know a lot about themselves and a lot about each other since they're so similar. And so this is, I believe, one of the pretty important developments for the upper class. But anyways, got a new color. I like this one. It's very vibrant. So some key takeaways for both the upper class and the middle class is that at the opening of the 21st century, humanity was more collectively wealthy than it had ever been before. So at the opening of the 21st century, humanity had never been so collectively wealthy. And obviously, this is a product of both the middle class and the upper class rising and contributing to the economy, as we know that the upper class was very, very wealthy and the middle class was very, very large, and both helped to increase prosperity throughout the globe. So yeah, it's the rise of the middle and upper class. Thank you for watching, and in our next lesson we'll be looking over the integrals of trigonometric functions.